area to be when you're thinking about the six in their like navy blue jersey. The deep dive by a season ago, also an all-star in her. The shot clock, the little mouse in the house. Caitlin Clark stepped back.
Teams that are contenders
Career in a single season. How about the
Beachy still can do production in the paint is
going at Alicia Gray.
Natasha Howard will think twice now about
At Florida Gulf Coast, that was their go. A turnover to Tori in the arena or on. So 2 triples for Atlanta. Can they here today? Was at the bottom of the preseason game against Washington. And a pow. In for the other. That will just a miscommunication coming over from Phoenix.
Wanted to travel, but the ref saw on that foul.
And what they wanted to do in the offseason. And just having conversation with Peace had a great year last. We saw a lot of how they
Was impressive to say the least.
down the lane, took it, and
Mitchell doesn't count the shot last season.
points, entertaining, and outside. John Staley loved it so much championship
And led the nation.
Austin back to the free throw line for Atlanta. 3 game. Bree Jones will take. Maybe it was a learned habit. Different substitution to both teams. Back door. Lexi Holt.
UG. Ryan and Alicia stayed real. It reminds me of home. I'm back at the
Said the youth of it. Jordan Canada sustaining been told that it's the right knee. She
Stepped in. She's been dominant. She's benefited so far. Just not being scared to step.
one of the best in Don Staley at this time.
Stretch the floor. And she's that line of sight and making herself available.
And the one thing that floor out, and we're seeing a lot of that.
And not be stagnant as Maya Caldwell.
Caitlin Clark, top of the key, the lead. Ryan Howard, another addition to free agency for.
But if these two teams stay,
Tawana Bonner, one of the got fouled on the put.
Defensive Player of the Year, she knows how to move and
Amazing legends that she's been in, and then growing, winning a championship too with
take advantage every time by putting the ball on the floor.
the first quarter.
They've missed 20 games last season. Ryan Howard at times and needed help.
And Tawana Bonner,
5-on-5, but you got to see a different team by anybody's defense. She's going to go get her bucket.
saw it, had the heave.
Her bestie shoes, the A1s. Better though. Dawn had on the blue ones.
3 off the deck. Tries to. Tawana Bonner gets
Miscommunication between her and Ali.
Atlanta. You mentioned just picking up her third there before the second.
Timing of teammates, not just on the offensive end, but
Own inside out. You have no access to
the only way I'm getting in is
here with you for the fight. Getting a pow. Already Tori Walker Kimbrough at the glass. The dish on the inside.
and it's called plugging the hole. He said we don't want to let they've been working on it again.
Time to adjust to her style of play, but
Thrown at her so early as Ryan Howard asking a rookie who has all eyes handled it very well, and she impressed Steph White with coach, putting her in situations to where
the title game in the NCAA. Anything. She had an absolutely amazing record.
Didn't she go further?
So really fun to see her career and how it 2 fouls for a teammate pow. Boston going at Bree Jones.
20 games due to finger and hand. It is the league in assists. Jordan believes that she's Alicia Gray. We saw her grab her knee as well.
But to Autumn's point, just the environment.
She has a chemistry on the court. Out to Hina Pow with ease at what I'm seeing so far as her on this floor.
And we can both attest to the energy that she infuses into the gets it back to Ryan. Still looking for her
on her face that finally one went down.
On a 10-3, make it hands of Kelsey Mitchell. Step back,
Turnover, and right there, Bree Jones with a nice
from the top of the key field. Pow returning them. And it's very reminiscent. The Tawana Bonner triple right. Tad slower, but
point shooting as we see Taylor Theory is going to push that pace, not just with her offense.
She was a game change 20 games last year.
I said this is how this team can operate into it.
Ryan Howard pulls up.
Literally.
And lots of Howard taking away my 3. I have to show
just trying to figure it out.
Can get in rhythm. 3rd best scorers in the inside from the look that we got. Finds the hands of Natasha.
She tried to flip it up and it went to Indiana. But that number was 10-0 at one point. We're a bit more first quarter. So Atlanta doing a better job of protecting.
Here in the first half, Nia Coffin. avoided the contact as Nia Coffey responses from outside for Holt to take the lead. Ryan Howard, Chelsea Mitchell,
but it looked like it was
contact. Bodies everywhere on the floor right now.
Letting the refs. Is a champion. She's a two-time champion with the
shot clock, or game clock rather.
Second quarter, Atlanta cleaned that up a little bit. And that's because
Latoya Sanders spent her time. Dallas, Chelsea Lyles, who he
from her days in UNC when we used to stat.
Oh yeah, you better correct it now. Just down by 2.
Off of screens, it's very hard to do.
Gray shifting
And letting the refs.
In zone.
And it happened so
to Tori Walker-Kimbrough.
Late recovering to Walker-Kimbrough, who put it up.
Quickly, the clutch free throws of the game are.
Tori telling us she free at last. Back.
Collision of sorts in that
bounce. Athletic and both
free throw line in this ball game.
And at this team, you had Tahina Powell, who, meaning they touched the paint, reclaimed the paint and some of that physicality.
Yeah, for Leah Boston to start the season. We're seeing a lot of
body well.
Kelsey
Mitchell that we saw last year, really ankle.
And so it
that was excellent defense. Atlanta Annihilation, Brianna Jones taking up some of that.
For the ball. Gets it on the deep sit. Body.
The music there. I don't want to run anywhere.
The step back pull. Bree Jones again. The scoop that we saw in the last one as Ryan Howard.
Dribble. And you could just see her
for Atlanta. Caitlin Clark. Juana Bonner left alone. Yeah, again,
beautiful
the dive.
But we were still looking down here at the other end.
Kimbrough was talking numbers, and the Sydney Colton, drafted by the Valkyries, and in the last 3 years, and the staff rotation as well. Full court pass,
plugging the gaps that Carl Smesco talked about.
So hopefully I can show everyone's on the same team.
But then there, so little Kirk connection.
Team was drafted in the first round, 6 overall. Carl Smesco is going to have. And Powell talking to the refs saying what we're.
They call her KK Timpson.
Georgia Tech, I'm a senior flower.
She was a 3-time champ. Oscar.
To the left beat and had the right timing to hit
and understanding where you want the ball. It's luxury for Atlanta this season.
You came in and we announced that we body how you're active. This was
and also another player that scored over Atlanta in last season, wanting to put the shot, how to stand under pressure
season with injuries. That little turnaround over her shoulder, that's where her strength is.
During his time, finding different, having the expansion, so it's fun to see that they're watching Jones.
And they had to defend them and then bring them back. Team being able to have players who scored 21 points.
Nice rejection by her. Sydney Colton up top. Taylor Theory, floor. The coach
tries to make a roster. She's probably
Lexi Hall getting downhill. Lexi Hall, Jones again from outside. Hall again. 17 minutes of play. By the way, there's 6 minutes left. Left on the shot clock, and there won't be any.
A lot when you're a rookie because mostly they give you. It's always fun to watch. You know, as we're holding NCAA records, and it takes me back to the conversation that we had. There's always injuries, there's hardship. 4 seasons or 4th season.
Yes. Nas Hillman, the back.
And what kind of pass is this person like? Because they're still trying to find out how they want
everyone in the roster. Decisions to make.
Some tough ones. She's going to go out here and he has to assess what from last season who was on the Atlanta Dream. Come on, who does she look like?
I am not saying her space in this league. The players that are trying to score for Atlanta, the
defense.
Sellers, about 4 different players. Will take it out underneath. At this
combobulated basketball, but they're all trying to figure
clear, and that resonated with Carl Smith's way that clicks. And get this, y'all, Coach
Absolutely, that's what a lot of the
and trying to figure out his style. Coach, I like it because he doesn't have to scream and shout that he's taking it back to technique and form.
They're just going to let things play out.
They're trying to figure out pieces right now that are.
So Atlanta will split 1-1, getting some rest. She finished with 13, but on the other side for Atlanta, just down by 2.
Takes at that speed coming off of screens. It's very hard to do.
The ladder. Gray shifting
Right beyond the three-point line. Caitlin letting the refs honor Sophie Cunningham.
in evident pain there. And it just landing zone.
And it happened so.
I don't know how she found her footing. Shatori Walker-Kimbrough
got caught up defensively and was late recovering to Walker-Kimbrough, who put it up.
Really quickly, the clutch free throws of the game are in there, so everything is clear.
Shatori telling us she free at last, real, but everybody was chilling. We just welcomed her back.
Inadvertent collision of sorts in that.
Dynamic players too, just good off the bounce, athletic, and both
connecting more at the free throw line in this ball game.
It's all in the second quarter, just ignited this team. You had Tahina Powell, and she went 4 for 4 from the free throw line, meaning they touched the paint and turned it into offense and reclaimed the paint and some of that physicality.
And that's always something that you're looking at for Leah Boston. Who's receiving the ball from Caitlin Clark to start the season. We're seeing a lot
deep, but that's a good sign for Bree Jones, who used her body well. Kelsey Mitchell, and a lot of the attention was on her, but the Kelsey Mitchell that we saw last year really aimed to start the second half with a jump ball.
A challenge that was called, and so it was drain a 3 in one possession game.
And that was excellent defense. Atlanta did it in time to avoid the shot clock violation. Brianna Jones taking up some of that
Shot clock. It's Bree Jones begging for the ball, gets it on the deep
as well. She knows how to position her body.
Body's there right now.
No, I can't. The knees are there. I don't want to run anywhere.
10 on the shot clock. The step back pull. Finds Bree Jones again. The scoop of waves. Might want to patent that scoop that we saw in the last one. As Gray finds Ryan Howard. 3-ball.
She comes off the screen. Didn't even need a dribble. And you could just see her line.
Hockey substitution on the way for Atlanta. Caitlin Clark. Thought she had a pick. Nothing there as Dewana Bonner left alone. Nia again finding the dive
in a flash. She got up the court. We were still looking down here at the other end.
The jersey is Shatori Walker-Kimbrough was talking this series as they have the numbers and the Sydney Colton out of Maryland was originally drafted by the Valkyries.
And it's hard to try to make a roster spot.
In the last 3 years, the connections going back and forth and the staff rotation as well for Naz Hillman. Full court pass.
And that's that plugging the hole, plugging the gaps that Carl Smesco talked about.
I know there's a lot of questions about my knee, so hopefully I can show everyone's personnel with Maryland, and now they're here on the same team.
Chrissy Winter-Scott talked about being on staff with him there, so a little Kirk connection.
She came out of Maryland in 2017, was drafted in the first round, 6th overall.
Missed from the floor today.
Carl Smesco is going to have
gap.
And Pow talking to the ref saying what was coming down after she got the shoulder.
Look at Michaela Timpson. They call her KK Timpson.
When we had Lorella Kubai, I was all about Georgia Tech. I'm a senior flower.
We didn't mention Natasha Howard, and she was a 3-time champ. And gets to learn from her on the roster.
You have to have the right angle with your feet and have the right timing to inside the paint.
But also the right intent and understanding where you want the ball on the inside is going to be the greatest luxury for Atlanta this season.
We know that she's a dominant force, but when you came in and we announced that we love your game, I love the way you move your body, how you're active. This was a big lineup that we can use.
Yes, and also another player that scored over. Another player that was with Atlanta in last season, wanting to all you've seen at practice too, working with the shot, how to stand under pressure.
And more of in her position, right? Like last season with injuries. She can come off the dribble. She can do that little turnaround over her shoulder, eyes over other guards who play in the wing. That's where her strength is.
Was used to see during his time finding different looks all season. Yes, we are having the expansion, so it's fun to see that we don't make this roster. Someone is out there watching. Jones,
who lit them up, and they had to defend them and then bring them back possibly fine, which makes her better for her team being able to. I'm sorry, Angel. Jaylen Brown is one of those players who scored 21 points.
Indiana up by double figures. A nice rejection by
that other player is not having it done to her.
Sydney Colton up to Anna. Taylor Theory locked down on that side of the floor. The coach talked
herself and her teammates as well, and right now she tries to make a roster. She's probably
Lexi Hall getting downhill
to recover.
Lexi Hall, Jones again from outside.
The face of the defense.
Hall again with 10 in 17 minutes of play. In this quarter. Oh, and by the way, there's 6 minutes left. Baseline finds Theory. 2 seconds left on the shot clock, and there won't be any.
Absolutely. It's a lot when you're a rookie because mostly they give you missions. We do it with the Hawks as well, but it's always fun to watch. You know, as we NCAA tournament, just holding NCAA records, so much talent out there. And it takes me back to the conversation that we had. But there's another team that can pick you up. There's always injuries, there's hardship career, and she's only been in the league 4 seasons, her 4th season. Playing because their number can be called at any point in the season.
Yes. As Haley Jones sends that back up to Nas Hillman. The back off of those.
In the niche, where you want the ball, how high, what kind of pass is this person like? Too much worried about from either team because they're still trying to find out how they want it.
Like we've been able to see everyone in the roster because after this one, there's some decisions to make.
Some tough ones. How it's not really fair, but at the end of the day, she's going to go out here and he has to assess what's for the Angel.
Oh, boy.
Who from last season, who was on the Atlanta Dream
trivia? That's your personal opinion.
Come on, who does she look like?
I am not saying Taylor Theory trying to earn her space in this league. And we've seen it from the players that are trying to. Biggest lead was 4 for Atlanta. The
roster spot. Another thing you can do is play defense.
Sellers. That ball passed about 4 different players. The point lead for Indiana. Sydney Colson will take it out underneath.
At this time, playing 5-on-5. And we see a lot of turnovers, a lot of discombobulated basketball, but they're all trying to figure.
Complex ideas, simple and clear, and that resonated with Carl Smith. Simplified the game and presents challenges in a way that clicks. And get this, y'all, coach to the dream.
Absolutely, that's what a lot of the.
We were trying to get a beat on him and trying to figure out his style, code what he's saying, exactly what he wants. But I like it because he doesn't have to scream and shout. And the players really listen to him because they know that he's taking it back to technique and form.
14 seconds left, but it seems like they're just going to let things play out.
Expect this game to look a lot different. They're trying to figure out pieces right now that are.
So Atlanta will split 1-1. Spent a good amount of time getting some rest. She finished with over in the 4th quarter with 14. But on the other side for Atlanta,